A very good evening to everybody. First and foremost, thank you for taking time out of your hectic schedule to be with us. This last session with international coaches around the world. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. My name is Hasmul Zafar. I'm also a national coach with the Singapore Silat Federation. As I say again, thank you very much. So before we move on with our few questions to our distinguished panelists, let me introduce first our distinguished guest, Dr. Sheikh Alauddin Marikan, President of APSIF. Thank you, sir, for gracing us on this event, for making time. As we know, we are having a very hectic schedule ahead of a lot of events coming up. Thank you for your time, sir. So let us have an icebreaker while we wait for Mr. Freddie from Netherlands?
Philippines.
Okay, sorry. I would like to call upon maybe Mr. Ali Alipah from Brunei to have an icebreaker. Introduce yourself, your age, your past experience with the national team. All yours. Please feel to unmute yourself. Thank you so much.
All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Just checking. Can everybody hear me? Sounded good? Okay, thank you. So my name is Ali Rashid Alipah. I'm from Brunei Darussalam. My background in Silat might not be as in-depth as some of our other guests here on the panel. I started recreationally probably around 99, 2000, and got a little bit more seriously involved from 2007. I obtained my coaching and wasit juri certifications in 2010. And I think around 2016, I was given the responsibility to run the development program at the Brunei Sports School, and currently still running the program. In 2020, I was elected as part of the National Pencak Silat Federation of Brunei Coaching Commission to assist with the capacity building of our coaches here in Brunei Darussalam. Mostly involved with national level competitions and a few excursions to regional games, such as the Thailand Sports School Games, but mostly with the junior squad. And my contributions to the national squad usually is during the training program here in Brunei itself. And when they go to the games internationally, we have our other senior coaches that will be taking them to the games. So that's just a bit of my background. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alipah. Next, can I call from Singapore, Coach Fikri, to introduce yourself? Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah, my name is Muhammad Fikri. I'm from Singapore Silat Federation. My nationality is Indonesian. Yeah. My experience in Silat is for the team. Before I in charge for the Singapore team, I in charge for the Singapore sports school in Jakarta. We call it PPLP Jakarta. I'm start from 2011 until 2014, and from 2014 I in charge for Singapore Silat Federation until now. So basically, I'm in charge for match category for senior level in Singapore Silat Federation. So maybe that's all introduction from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Fikri. Next, can I have Mr. Dennis, all the way from Netherlands. How are you?
Welcome, fine.
What time is it there?
What do you say?
What is the time? What is the time there?
7 o'clock in the morning.
Morning?
In the morning, yes.
Thank you.
6 hours earlier.
Thank you once again for being with us. I know it's still early morning over there. Up to you. So Dennis, introduce yourself, please. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm a former athlete. I'm practicing Pencak Silat now for more than 30 years. I'm 42 years old. I started like a little kid. Since 2016, I'm a national coach of the Netherlands. And yeah, we hope we can develop Pencastilat in the Netherlands again to a higher level. That's I'm training the national team and also have an own school in the Netherlands. So I also train my own pupils.
Wow, thank you. Okay, up next from Indonesia, Mr. Ferry Hendrasin. Introduce yourself, Pak. Terima kasih.
Oke, sebentar. Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Selamat siang. Saya Ferry Hendrasin, profesi coaching strength and conditioning di PBFC, is managing sports science. Last assessment of Jakarta Asian Games coach strength conditioning. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Freddie?
Yes.
Okay, we can't see you, but I think we can hear you. Why don't you introduce yourself? Is okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, good day everybody, to all the coaches out there. I am Freddie Mundo, formerly a national team of the Pencastilat here in the Philippines, and trainer, Philippine Lightning Speed Pencastilat in the province of Aklan. Now we are here at the Bayumbong, Nueva Vizcaya for our bubbles training, and yes, we are here in the Bayumbong, Nueva Vizcaya for preparation in the forthcoming SEA Games in Hanoi. It's an honor and to be part of this activity, mga sirs. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Okay, first, once again, thank you everybody for gracing us. And last and not least, I would like to invite Dr. Syed Alauddin, President of our SIF, to have the brief introduction of himself. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hasmo. First and foremost, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to every one of you out there. I'm actually currently in Indonesia. I having a meeting with this Bersilat team. We talk a lot about putting silat in Olympics, SEA Games, World Championships, and how we can put the direction of Pencastilat in a better state. So I'm currently now in my room. I'm trying to fit as much as possible. However, this is important to me by having gathering and discussing among us. So I have some representative, like I have from Holland, Mr. Dennis, Alipa from Brunei, Singapore, and Philippines. We're supposed to have from Yemen, but too bad last minute, there's some programs that he needs to attend. We have also done a international athletes live, YouTube live. We have done with referee and jury. And then now it comes with coaches. Tomorrow I will have with the presidents of the International Federation representative. This is important for us, even we talk about the new rules and moving forward, how best that you also can share with us to put silat to Olympics, firstly within your country, how you can develop and moving forward with your ideas to put silat in Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, World Martial Art Games, World Beach Games, World University Games, and so on. So I'm happy to see all of you and see what are the things that you can come out with. with our discussion. We only have 2 hours, and we hope this is going to be fruitful to all of us. Thank you very much. Back to you, Asmo.
Thank you, sir. All right. First on the table for our discussion is basically similar to our icebreaker. It's more to getting to know you guys as coaches. Is guiding your athletes regardless of whichever category they are in. So basically, the question is your specialty as a coach, be it mental, be it physical, match or artistic, for the junior category or the elites or the seniors, or it can even be from developmental as low as the latest is the Macan and or the Cups. Other than that, there's an important factor that we want to know from you. What is your coaching philosophy? What is your past experience, and what kind of relationship that you guys have with your fellow athletes? To start off, I think I will call again Mr. Ali Alipa from Brunei to start off this topic. To you, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Just a little bit of information about my specialty area. I have a little bit of a background in different martial arts as well. I was actually a national competitor in a few different martial arts other than Pencak Silat. And so I have a bit of background in striking arts, grappling, as well as in weapons. And so I think the change in the new regulations is my background has given a little bit of a benefit to us, to myself, in terms of the designing a program. I actually run the development program for the Pencak Silat Federation of Brunei, and I focus on the junior athletes as well as a little bit of the senior athletes as well, in assisting them with the technical aspects of the new regulations. I specialize in tanding or match mainly, not in the seni. However, we do have I do have a background in seni as well as a national coach. My background in grappling, I am affiliated with the Kodokan Judo Institute. I'm an instructor under there. So it has been a little bit beneficial for us in terms of adapting the curriculum to the new regulations. Of course, it is different. The nature of the sport is different. There is striking and grappling does not include that. It was quite it is an interesting experience. I feel it is quite challenging because of the different nature of the two sports. Try to bring it together, it's still a very interesting experience so far, and hopefully we'll be able to create some new, I think, entertaining matches in the next games in the future. I think that's all for myself. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Mr. Alipa. Okay, next I would like to call upon Mr. Dennis. Okay, on top of the previous question, I want to add one more question to you, sir. As a coach, do you feel proud with the development of Pencak Silat, and how do you prepare your athletes for competitions? Namely, I think for you, sir, it's the Belgium Open. It's one of your major competitions in your calendar.
Yes.
To you, sir.
Yes, I'm preparing the national team. The Belgium Open is different. In Europe, the Belgium Open is open also for schools in Holland, not only for national teams. So that's different for preparation. They prepare for themselves. For a major event like the World Championship or European Championship, there have only be a national team. So I prepare the team then. Also for the World Championship in Malaysia. For us, it must be very difficult the last 2 years to prepare and to practice the new rules because of the pandemic. In Holland was a totally lockdown for sports schools, so we cannot practice. So we have to start, I think, November last year. We can start with training. So we have to do a lot of exercise to adjust the new rules. In Holland, we have implemented the new rules for the national competition. So we have in last March, we have the first international championship in Holland based on the new rules. So we hope we can really good and fast implementate the new rules for our national team. It's a lot of hard work, but yeah, I hope it will be successful.
Well, thank you, Mr. Dennis. I think, yes, the pandemic did had a great impact to all of us globally. In terms of pencak silat, it was a wrench thrown into the gear. So it's a brand new start. Hopefully, with opening of all the borders and norming of all the uncertainties, I think the norm competitions will come back into our yearly calendar. Thank you, sir. Next, can I have from Indonesia, Mr. Ferry? Okay, on top of my previous question, there's an additional. How do you, as a coach, when you go overseas for competition, how do you incorporate training with the lacks of equipments? Namely, you're not in the arena without your mattress, without your... Can you hear me, sir? Mr. Ferry, bisa dengar nggak? Boleh? Nggak boleh? Can you hear me? You can hear me, sir?
Okay.
Can? All right. Okay, as I say again, from my previous question regarding how you act as a coach to train up your team. On top of that, how do you as a coach, when you're leading a team in competition out of Indonesia, how do you incorporate training without the aid of equipment?
Okay, sorry.
Oh, do you need me to translate? I think there's a glitch in the technical, or I think he can't hear me. Okay, let us move on before I come back. Pak Ferry, saya akan kembali pada anda. Pak Ferry selesaikan urusan teknikalnya. Saya akan ke Coach Fikri. Okay.
Okay, basically in Singapore we have a lot like level athlete. We have like. Hello. Masuk tak? Hello. Mati ni. Mati ya.
Okay, it's okay. I let you guys settle your technical issues. Then we will come back to this question. Before that, let me occupy the space, or I get another speaker to cover up first. Or are you okay, Coach Fikri?
Take. Okay. Okay. Basically, in Singapore, we have a lot category. We have a few category with from senior until below. So first is we have the Singa Cup, Singa Silat, pre-team, pre-junior, junior, senior, and elite. Basically, that all the level with our program long-term athlete development. So, and we have in this situation of pandemic, we have like actually we waiting for the overseas competition lah. But because this situation, so we make our local competition for this situation for this pandemic. So from last year until this year, we have a lot friendly trial with our club, our local club. I mean, and for this month in fasting month also we have create our friendly trial with we call it the Ramadan challenge. So the fasting month doesn't mean we cannot do the activity, we cannot do some competition, but we create this trial for special for the fasting month. So and for our training ground, our equipment is very good lah. So we have a lot equipment. We have a very good facility. I maybe from you guys if already come to Singapore Silat Federation for the training ground, is you can see or you can see our website lah. So we have a lot and very good. We have we have gym, sandbag, a lot of sandbag. We have a lot padding equipment. So that's why for make our athletes better for the training. Maybe that's all.
Right, thank you, Coach Fikri. Pak Ferry, isunya udah okay? Okay, I think I will move on. Okay, I think I will call up Dr. Sheikh. Sir, your point of view regarding coaching, please, I believe your experience is very vast. Can you share with us, coaches, how do you bring up a team, your challenges, the things that you have to face while dealing with the teams, regardless whether it is the old ruling or the new rulings? To you, sir.
Right, thank you. First and foremost, I want to bring you back. I'm a player coach in 1998. So that's where I play the role of being a player and a coach. So being a player and coach, you must be well ready for both. Meaning you must be a champion. At the same time, you must create champions. So that is very tough. And actually, I love to take challenge. And we really built the team strongly. I have 250 athletes in front of me at that time in the year 1998. And then we will just do selection and develop. More importantly, I want to make a statement here is how hungry you are as a coach too, not only as an athlete. As a coach, how hungry you are. If you are hungry to coach, meaning you have to develop your own self first. Meaning you have to go into education, build as much as possible, learn about sports science, learn about leadership, communication, even counseling, even psychology. Because you're not only being a coach, you are also a father, you're also a friend, you are also a mentor, you are everything. You are everything. It's like a mother at home taking care of the kids. You, as a coach, you're taking care of the athletes. It's the same principle. However, you tend to get emotional. You can enjoy when the kids got a goal, got medals, but the moment they lost the game, they cry. And where are you? Are you say, hey, hello, wake up. You slap them or you shake them or you talk to them nicely. You build them. This is the soft skill part that you really need this to develop. So you need to equip yourself to make sure that you are ready to be a coach. Not only you know the skill, that's not enough. Being a coach is just knowing how the techniques is not enough. You have to be holistically covered yourself by knowing all these aspects of being a coach. And then you'll be a good coach. And then you comes to the next level of being an elite coach. Bring a team to big tournaments like World Championship, SEA Games, Asian Games, and whatever, European championships and so on. If you are just a coach using whistle and stopwatch, I think you better resign. If you want to be a coach, you must be able to showcase techniques. You must showcase, you must show, you must be deeply involved. You must really swim with the athlete. And then the athlete will believe in you. You believe in the athlete. Then only you can be a good coach, beside all the other aspects that I have mentioned earlier. This is very important. Very, very important. This is a critical. It's just like the fine-tuning. Being an elite coach, you need to really fine it. Refine and understand deeply. You understand the athlete, you understand the parents, you understand yourself, you understand the organization. That's where you can create a champion. Failing which, it will be trouble for you. When I started off, I don't have any support. I don't have any support. Even the federation don't have money and so on. You have to find your own friends, your own contact. You must find and build. Sometimes you use your own money to buy equipment. You find people, your friends to help you out. You need to buy attire for your athletes. You need to bring them for competition overseas, trials, and so on. So all these things is very complex. Depends on you again, how much really you want. If you are in a country where you can get a lot of support, yes, very good. Your job is to focus very much in the training itself. And then I'm very sure that you can produce a lot of good athletes, and then you can create a lot of more champions. But now you're going to be a coach, plus you're going to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur means you got to develop the sport yourself, the athlete, to be a commodity. And that's where people will come to you and believe in you and trust you that, hey, this is a good coach, that we must help them to build their team. That is how I struggle and I make it until today. Of course, you can't just do alone. You need a lot of people around you to help you out and to make your mission a reality once. So this is what I've been doing. I've been preaching until today. At the same time, I'm also taking charge of the elite, and I think it's very important that you gotta keep them there. If not, they get swell-headed, become prima donna. If you do not know them, once they become a champion, people give them sponsorship and everything. They say, forget about you. They even can dictate you. So where are you now? If you don't develop from the beginning, you got to develop beginning, trust, build up, have people help you, and then you survive. And then about time of succession plan. While you're building yourself, you're building the team, you need to build coaches, more like many coaches you need. And then you give empowerment to them. Make them, they are the one that can create the team. You mentoring, now your job is mentoring. So these are very vast, needed being a coach. Bottom line, go back to you, whatever you do, it has to be genuine. Thank you. I give back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Sheikh, for a very insightful and thank you for sharing us your experience. I believe all of us coaches has a lot of experience to share. We have our ups and downs, a very colorful career indeed. That's why we chose to be coaches. In our panel, let us welcome from Turkey. Am I correct, Mr. Sezai Erzin? Mr. Sezai, can you hear me? I think the system is lagging over there. From Indonesia, Pak Ferry. Pak Ferry? Okay, I think it's it's been a very challenging start for us. Okay, it's okay. Once again, I say again, it's for some of us early morning, some it's late evening. Thank you again for being with us live with our panels of international coaches. Okay, moving on from the first topic, our second topic up for discussion. It's about the new international pencak silat competition rules and regulation. It is a very heated argumental subject, which is something new, hot from the oven from Pesilat, praised to us, and I think hopefully this SEA Games in Hanoi will be the first time we're going to use this at the major games. So let me pose a few questions, 2 questions, so that any of you could just answer it. The first question is, share your experience going through the motions of training briefing for the new rules. Secondly, how does these changes help you understand your athletes' strengths and weaknesses? I think my assistant will type it in the chat if you need to have a reference regarding the question. So I would like to have, once again, Ali Alipah from Brunei to open up this heated recipe from the oven. Up to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So the new regulations, I was personally, first of all, I was quite accepting of it because I understand that actually Pencak Silat is such a rich sport with a variety of techniques from the different styles of Pencak Silat. And the regulations that we practiced previously did not give an opportunity for other techniques that were available in this the Pencak Silat syllabus to be utilized in the sport aspect of Pencak Silat. So having this grappling aspect and all the changes in regulations does actually, in my opinion, allow for all the other traditional Pencak Silat styles to explore how they can apply their techniques to the new regulations and kind of to contribute more towards the sporting scene rather than just practicing the traditional techniques for appreciation of culture or for self-defense specifically. I think it opens up the level of interest to other members of the community because some people, of course, they enjoy striking and some people enjoy a little bit more of grappling and some of us enjoy both aspects. And so it kind of, to me, in my opinion, it kind of opens up to a different market as well. And hopefully, I understand that there is a little bit of an opposition to the changes, but I feel that the last time there was amendments to the regulations, I think it was in 2013. And so I feel that a lot of people has already developed their systems in the past decade or so. And they spend a lot of time and effort to creating a system that works for them. And now suddenly everything changes because the addition of grappling basically changes a whole lot of the approach that we use in hunting itself. And so I feel that because of that aspect, there was a little bit of resistance. But hopefully, as we continue in applying these new regulations and as we get more familiar with it, and of course, there will be definitely will be continuous amendments to it as we experience it during competitions. Hopefully, we can not only promote Silat and open it up to all these different communities. I feel that it is an opportunity for the other Pencak Silat perguruan or styles to contribute to the sport rather than excluding them. And so this is, I feel, is a good opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ali Alipa. I couldn't agree more. I think everybody agrees here that the changes, it's overwhelming and change is never easy for us to adapt, especially for us senior coaches. I think it's change, even though it's needed, it is some similar to bitter medicine, something which is useful but difficult to swallow. Next, I think I will have to call Mr. Dennis from Holland, our friend all the way from Europe, regarding the changes within the new rulings. What are your thoughts based on my questions? To you, sir.
Yes, Ali mentioned earlier, a lot of our senior athletes already have a system of the base of the old rules, and they now adapt the new techniques, formerly the grappling, to their system. And I think the basic is the speed and the power. And to adjust the grappling, you have to be more on balance, standing on your feet. That's very important in the fight now. So there's a big change for your fighting skills, and I think it's more attractive regarding to the matches. So for the spectators, I think it's more attractive to watch the Silat games, and that's the big improvement, in my opinion, for the Silat. But still, the basics is you need to improve for speed and power. That's the basic of the Silat fight, and then we adjust the grappling, etc.
Yep, I could agree more. I think the changes has given a more dynamics towards sports Silat.
Yes.
It's not only as a small sport with a lot of restriction. I think the new rules has given us that freedom and give us that to be innovative and be dynamic as coaches. I think it's a good sign for us and especially for Pencak Silat. Pak Ferry,
Yup.
Is it okay over there?
Bagus.
It's okay?
Bagus.
Bagus. Okay, thank you very much, Pak Ferry. Okay,
Maaf,
Pak Ferry.
sorry.
Saya, no problem. Pak Ferry, so
Okay.
is it okay if I
Okay.
speak in English or you want me to converse in Bahasa?
Okay. No problem.
Can? All right, okay.
Okay, sorry
Okay,
moderator and sorry everyone. I will try
No
to
problem, no
subject
problem.
modified rules Pancasila, okay? Sorry, after this again left. Prepare a symbolic ceremony and awarding awards from Governor West Java to athletes. Okay, thank you. Yeah. It's very possible that Mr. Sheikh has communicated with Coach Ronnie about the result and survey, okay? Result and what input do you have to referencing to new regulation? It's one, the arts of Pencastilat, the rules of Pencastilat must still exist, okay? Don't think to clothes of match leader, referee, judges. And regulation have also be reviewed because they will increase is injury risk, okay? Maybe it's between and mix in regulation and new regulation and old regulation. Okay, and extension on Persilat can bring Pencastilat to Olympic and can develop accordingly the technology progress, but forget the rules of Pencastilat. Okay, there's a point revised to new regulation. Hope to all and Pencastilat stay sustainable on to Olympic. Can follow apply to technology to match system and evaluation. Sorry, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pak Ferry. I think this is the normal question that we usually get when we implement certain changes, and I think all of us agree that these new changes within the rules, regardless of match or artistic, is a heated argument. Some, as what Mr. Alipa has mentioned, it is something against or with changes, and I think we all agree that change is never easy. To embed change, we need time, understanding, and hopefully in the future, things will just go better. I think I believe Dr. Sheikh Alauddin, President of APSIF, is also one of the steering member, the steering committee for Pesilat that has spent many long hours, I think a long period of time before they approve of the heated argument regarding these new rules. Sir, from your point of view regarding the new rules?
Okay, thank you very much. And I want to echo what Mr. Alipa have mentioned. Silat is very much, I should say, massive techniques that we have. Massive techniques. But why don't we showcase the technique? So that's where the steering committee of the International Silat Federation, we sat down 4 years ago. We think about how can we build this sport silat to the next level. We don't talk about Olympics. We talk about putting these sports to the next level, where the medias don't want to cover silat because they say it's very boring. If they have to cover like SEA Games or Asian Games, because they have to. And then they say boring because too long for you to counter. The technique is good, but very long you take the process to do the attack and defense and so on. And then the sponsors, I don't want to sponsor you. I rather sponsor other sports. You see, I sit in a lot of other sports internationally, and I feel very disturbed where the sport is new, but then it's already having 100 over countries, and then already even in Olympics. Whereas for us, we are already, traditionally, we are so many decades learning silat. In the early days, were introduced of silat. And then it grows until all over the world. In 1982 or 1980, then only we introduced the International Silat Federation because we think it's important to upgrade, to share the knowledge of pencak silat in the world. That's where we have the International Silat Federation, Pesilat. Why? We are not governed by only Nusantara Group. We want all over the world to understand what is silat, comparing with taekwondo, karate, judo, whatever have you. We don't need to compare with mixed martial art because they play with money, showcase, and then everything become real huge now. However, with these elements of saying that silat traditional, 100% good. Silat self-defense, 100% good. And why? You can see in silat in Hollywood, in movies and everything, where they showcase a lot of good techniques on self-defense, real hardcore. But when it comes to sport, we don't totally cut off the traditional. You have to showcase the silat aspect of it, the aba-aba, the pola langkah, the sikap tangan, kuda-kuda, and everything else you have to introduce. Even in the previous silat competition, also dangerous. I myself, I started to compete in 1984 until my last straw is in 1999. I fractured a lot of my hands, my wrist, my elbow, my knee, my joints. There's no sports. You play football, you play anything. You play rugby, your shoulder just pop out, everything. So we also introduce safety aspect. But we want to make it a bit of colorful and bring out the silat traditional that we learned from our grandmasters pertaining to the self-defense and so on, bring into the sport silat. If not, you don't have the chance to showcase. Even in the artistic, you only can see the ganda, the double, where they showcase the technique of locking and so on. Other than that, you don't see. In the early 90s, when I was competing early 90s, they introduced the locking. But none of the athletes do any locking because it's so difficult that we are moving. We are not static. If we are static, yes, we can break here, we can break there, we can do this, we do that. But kekayaan seni silat, kita harus letakkan ke dalam pertandingan. Then up to the coaches to see how to create defense tactics. Normally, most of the athletes, they are only attack, very slow, very little on defense part. Either they become defend attack or attack, then they want to defend, they forgot. That's where the rule says that, okay, drop, minus this, and so on. There's a rule for it. So having all these elements pertaining to the sponsors, the media, the governing body, the National Olympic Council, and so on, we say that we want to make it interesting more. That's where we came in last 4 years. Until today, we have the meeting and how to improve it. We never try to dilute pencak silat standards. We have to have the pencak silat standard. And then we improve it, add on from the previous rule. Because previous rule was too complacent and too relaxed and too easy, where people saying that it's just bored to see silat, and it takes so long to finish one game. So all these elements we put through. As usual, neck and above, you cannot punch, you cannot kick, you cannot do anything. You cannot kick the groin, you cannot kick the knee. Other than that, it's just almost the same like previously. Only thing this time around, we make it video, we make it clear explanation on the theory part, on the rules part, and then we put pictures and so on. This is to help not only a few countries, it's to help for all the countries. Right now, we have about 80 countries. We are looking to stretch until 150 countries to learn pencak silat, be it on the perguruan part or be it on the sports side. So that we have these numbers, because in Olympic there is 204 countries registered and confirmed by them. But our silat now is only 80, but active about 40 in sports silat. And then those who go for competition is only 30 or less. So that statistic, I have data for all that. Then how we want to push our level to the highest level, higher and higher. How? So this is how one part of it, to make it interesting, to make it sponsors come in, donors come in, and then media want to come in, live streaming and so on. And then they say, hey, this sport is crazy, sport is great, this sport is good. That's the bottom line. A lot of I involved in all-style MMA, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. This group people, they can punch the face, kick the head, and so on. Silat don't have. But that doesn't say that Silat is soft. Silat, the dropping, slamming is killing. So then they understand, because they thought Silat is just a tarian, a dance movement. I make them understand what is Silat, and we then now integrate. We become like same level with them. And then they will understand much, much better in how. And then they see the recent Sea Championship in Singapore. I live streaming. I got sponsors. I got my governing bodies all came down and watch. And they say they love it. It's very interesting. And people who do not know Silat now getting to know Silat much more. So I think, having said all, I hope I clarify this thing clearly. This whole thing came about from Mr. Benny Sumarsono from Indonesia. Then we have from Megat, Datuk Megat. He have done silat so much and even done one silat. So he understands much better. And then coming in from the Pangeran from Brunei and myself and of course Mr. Teddy. So we are the founding members. We think that this is the best level. When we started off this thing, we invited Indonesia, we invited Malaysia, Singapore, and then Brunei. They set in, they have said whatever they want to say. That's why you see this rule have been surfaced. This is not now we change and we created. So I hope we as a coach, it's a very in-depth that we need to look into it and how we use this rule and then create the techniques and the tactics to develop our athletes. This is what I see. Every action, every move, every sports is also dangerous. And I have a lot of Silat athletes that join rugby. It's just because direct entry to the school. The school buy them to play rugby in the school. After 1 month, the boy came to me and I saw the shoulder pop down and wearing a sling and so on. I say, why? He said, I play rugby. I say, you play silat, you fight and you train, you got no injuries. But then you do rugby, shoulder pop up, knee pop up. So you see the difference. The bottom line, we have to look and embrace and how we can, as a coach, to develop proper techniques, safety aspect, technique of how to win the opponent and so on. So I think that's my opinion and what's my take and what I have discussed together with the steering committee. Until today, as I mentioned, I'm in Jakarta today, spoken to Pak Benny, Pak Teddy and Datuk Megat and his people here. We talk about it. Every time we try to refine and make it better. I think that's for me. I pass back to the moderator.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a very in-depth explanation. Mr. Sizai, are you online, Mr. Sizai? If you can hear me, can you please on your video so that all of us here can see you? Okay, I will let my admin sort out things with Mr. Sazai. I think there's a few difficulties over his side. Okay, moving on is for Mr. Dennis. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay, basically, how have these rules improved Silat as a martial art? Is there a possibility with the upgraded rules it will attract more public to join the sport, especially in Europe? Secondly, have you received negative or positive feedback from the public? If so, do share with us. To you, sir?
Yes, my own opinion is yes, it will be attractive for public. In reality, yeah, we still have one event, so it's difficult for me to give a result of what spectators think about it. So my own opinion is it will be very attractive for other peoples besides Silat. Yeah, we all know what Silat means, but all the peoples around us, as Sheikh mentioned it, to say it must be a dance, a movement. And when I was a young kid, and I mentioned to friends or family, from, oh, I'm practicing Silat. Oh, is that with the dance, with the weapons, with sticks? No, it's I practiced tanding, full contact fighting. So that was 20 years ago, but now we have to increase the sport, which I mentioned, to a higher level. We want to compare with karate, kickboxing. That is a high commercial sport. Silat is, I think, it's be a little kid, zeg maar, in fighting sports from Netherlands. So we in Netherlands want to make exposure the sport to grow. To more attractive, to more competitive. And that's very difficult, but little steps, we become bigger and attractive. And I think the new rules will help to achieve our goal.
Thank you. And we do hope that Silat prosper and blossoms in Holland. And I think with the changes, all of us can see that the main governing body from Silat and even federations around the world is not very keen to help everybody is within the Silat family, regardless from which continents we may be, not only in Asia, our fellow friends in the United States, in Europe, in Central Asia, in China, and maybe hopefully in the Arabic continents or even the African plateau, Silat will grow so that we can achieve our ambitions to be in the Olympics. Once again, Dennis, thank you for your insight.
Yeah,
so
also difficulty in Holland is that Silat is not a professional sport. It's all amateur. It's like a hobby. So to improve, we have to come a top sport program. But as I mentioned, it's a hobby. We practice it beside our work, beside school. And if you want to be a champion, you have to spend a lot of time beside your work. And yeah, that's a difficulty.
Yeah, those are the challenges. Yep. Okay, thank you, Dennis. Okay, next, can I have Coach Fikri? Coach Fikri, this is a question for you. An add-on from the previous question. Can you list some new rules and elaborate more on it? Meaning certain techniques that surprised you when the rules was implemented, the changes. I believe that certain techniques was not made available or made legal last time. Could you elaborate? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, for me is have a lot new techniques. Okay. Hello. for me a lot new technique in mural exercise. We a lot of technique for the pulling. We have a lot type technique for the mural for the pulling. Like
Yeah. I think it's we have been having these glitches since morning. Is you okay, Coach Fikri? Carry on.
Yeah. Okay. The one is we have a lot new technique in pulling. So the have a lot variation for pulling. So like we can see the previous competition in CCHAM have a lot athlete different technique in pulling. So this one we can apply in competition. So after look the all the type of technique the pulling, so I mean for me is I can apply all the technique for my athlete. So we learn a lot about the pulling technique. So that one can make our athlete better for the dropping techniques, especially for the pulling. So we have we train drill much for the pulling technique. So we still learn which one technique the more effective and efficient for the competition. So we still learn, and we try to find the efficient technique, the effective technique, and we learn about new tactical for adapt for the neural, especially. Maybe that.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Next, I think is I would like to have a general question so anybody can just answer. So the question is, do you think that the rule should be implemented way sooner, or should it have been implemented after a major competition? Or your thoughts, Mr. Ali, your thoughts?
So the new regulations, I think we were able to determine them for the competition, I think this April, the updated, amended regulations, and they will be utilized in the Southeast Asian Games. So I feel that during the Southeast Asian Games, the SEA Games in Vietnam, definitely aspects needs to be reconsidered in the competition. Of course, during the Southeast Asia Championships in Singapore, there were quite a few, I would say, items that needed to be reviewed and were already discussed. That led to the amendments in April. And so I'm sure it will take, usually it does take quite a bit of time before we actually, how you say, before we actually set those as the regulations for the next, for example, Olympic cycle. An example of a different sport that I'm involved with is judo. So every Olympic cycle, they do amendments to the regulations. And so after an Olympic Games, the committee will sit down and discuss on what suggestions that can be made in terms of amendments to the regulations. And then it will take about a year or so for them to explore and get feedback from everyone running competitions and from the athletes and coaches themselves. And then after that, then they can actually determine what regulations will be fixated. And then these will be the ones that will be utilized from a certain period onwards. And so I think this is still a kind of a discovery phase, in my opinion. And it's always I feel like Dr. Sheikh mentioned just now, complacency is the enemy of progress. So we always try to progress, but now there's no better. Now So I think it is good. It should have been reconsidered or considered in more detail. However, again, another item is perfection is enemy of progress as well. So it'll never be perfect. There will always be changes, always be amendments, always be opinions. And so if we just look at the objective of these changes are just to improve the SILAT ecosystem, where we try to attract more stakeholders and make it more attractive for spectators, so that we get a little bit, maybe a lot more budget and a lot more interest from different stakeholders. So I think implementing it now is there's no better time. I think we just carry on with it and then amend it as we go, and then refine it as much as possible.
Right, thank you. So for Dennis, how do you think does this implementation, the timing, is it just nice or is it too late for the SILAT in Europe?
It's never too late. But the timing in the pandemic is, in my opinion,
it just suits. It just suits in.
But it's on the other side, it's a good start to restart the training. So I hope we'll be proactive, not reactive. So Ali already mentioned there always be small changes after major games, but hopefully we carry on with developing the SILAT to a high level. And after 2 years not have any events, I think it's a great timing now to improve the new rules.
I agree.
Only for us in Holland, we are not able to practice new rules in competition, but that's a difficulty. For us, in the major game, the World Championship will be the first time to for outside of Holland to attendance a major game with the new rules. So in Holland, as a low level, but on a high level, we are hoping to practice on Belgium Open, but they have to cancel this tournament. So we can practice with all the competitors from Asia. We level with Team Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia. So we can see what level we are standing now to look forward to the World Championship. For us as a measurement, so where do we stand now, and what do we have to improve to compete the World Champion?
All right. Okay, I'm interested in one of the things that you brought up. I think I would like to address this question to Dr. Sheikh regarding the support from maybe governing body Persilat, or maybe APSIF can come into the picture while supporting European growth in Pencak Silat, because ultimately our ambition is to go Olympics. So our European counterparts, our friends in Europe, is an asset to us in the Silat faculty. So maybe from APSIF, Dr. Sheikh could share, is there any plans how Persilat or APSIF could help develop Pencak Silat for our European friends? Sir?
Thank you. We have 5 continents. So one of the continents is Europe. Europe plays a vital role in developing or furtherance the development of Pencak Silat moving forward to Olympics. However, we have the European Federation. They have committees and so on. So actually, going back to that, they have to really do a lot of programs. They have to do education programs, courses, coaching referees, managers, and then seminars, workshop. They must run that. Secondly, they must run a lot of championships or trials or programs that can enhance this thing. And on top and above, International Silat Federation is ready to support in any means by putting or developing more countries. Because right now in Europe, we only have maybe 15 active ones, maybe like Holland and then France and maybe Belgium. Not so much about the rest. So actually the role of this European Federation, they have to back up and they have to play their role seriously by developing more countries and then more programs. They have to go to all these countries. On top and above, they always can request from International Silat Federation and or request directly from me, see whether I can help them. And then the International Silat Federation can pick up and see how best we can help to develop further of this European sector. I think there's so much so. What do you think of it, Danish?
Yes, I totally agree with you. In Holland, we are developing Silat, but in the other countries, it's it's a little bit quiet. I think the reason is that the European Federation has to be more active to developing. And we in Holland, we are not waiting on that. We are going on and we want to improve Silat to a high level. But there are a lot of countries around us, such as Germany, Austria, Swiss, Turkey, Italy, Spain. The European competition is only held in Netherlands, Belgium, and that's all. Now in France, but the other countries is very quiet.
Sorry.
Right. I think the main reason why we have these live sessions is to create awareness so that it benefits everybody around the world, our counterparts in Europe, our friends from other Southeast Asian countries, Central Asia, the Arabic continent, and Africa. Hopefully that with this awareness, the progress of Pencak Silat in regards with the new rules and the changes will just blossom and we just expedite the whole process.
Yes, I hope the new rules give a new injection, more energy to grow.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. I hope we will give an injection, new brief to every of the new countries and even existing countries. Earlier, I just want to add on. Earlier, I want to say this thing. Mr. Ali have made a statement. I think it's a well said statement on pertaining on developing, and he's giving his experience pertaining to judo. Every major events, there will be a meeting and then see what is the gap. And we try to close the gap and make it better. That goes the same thing to Silat. So there will be opportunities of growing. So just cited one thing, the last SEA Championship, you see the coaches' reaction, the athletes, and the whole of the event. We basically sat down again and see what's to improve. And we have made changes. And I got information from Ali for clarifying a few things and a lot from other countries and so on. Then the steering committee sat down again and go through. So to play a part as a coach, you can always provide information or ideas or any improvements or question in your area. On top and above, you can always question on other aspect too. So this will help to improve not only on the techniques, not only on the rules, as overall it helps the International Silat Federation. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I hope that Dr. Sheikh has give us pointers so that we are much more aware of what the changes are, what's happening currently, and what is our vision for the future. Okay, moving on to the next question. It's basically an open question to any coaches. How do we coaches evaluate our athletes while we impart to them the new techniques, the new changes within the new rules. So what are the challenges that you coaches have to go through, have to see what changes that you need to implement so that the changes is being delivered across to everybody and the athletes understands. Maybe we'll start from Coach Fikri.
Okay. Okay. For me, because the new rule we have a lot of changes and new technique. Actually, not only athlete learn about the new technique. Our as a coach, we also must learn, must strengthen the new technique. A lot of new technique we must learn, so we can transfer the knowledge. We can transfer the technique with the athletes. So between coaches and athletes, we have like not learn together, but we must understand the step by step about the new rule. So maybe like that. So the also the from the previous, because in Singapore we have the follow the one major like CCHAM. So after CCHAM, we also all the coaches in Singapore we evaluate for the performance of athlete. So which one the very weak in the new rule, which one the strongest in new rule. So we analyze all the aspect for the fitness, strength, and technique. So we learn and we make better for the new competition, the next competition lah. Maybe like that.
Right. Thank you. Ali Alipa, sir, your input.
I think in terms of, I recall the question was what are the challenges that we coaches face in terms of preparing our athletes with these new regulations. The process itself, I think it is not different from the processes that we usually go through when we do a needs analysis on what are the current situation in the competition. For example, I can review the current competitors in a particular category. What are their movement patterns? What are the tactics they utilize? So we basically look at what are the basic needs of competing against such individuals or within that particular category. Definitely, there's a definite change in terms of the technical demands. So we have to have an understanding, like Coach Fikri mentioned just now, a lot of pulling techniques. So we need to try to refine it. One first aspect is definitely safety. How do we use techniques safe for the performer as well as the receiver, so that we don't injure each other too much during the game, the competitions. And then if there's something that presents itself during the competitions, definitely there will be an amendment to the regulations to ensure the safety of our athletes. Second is like the metabolic demands. Definitely, previously there were limitations in terms of the number of attacks that we could perform, and right now there's no limitation as long as we have the cycle of regulation. Whereas we need to have our pola langkah, we need to have our pasang, and then we use our techniques. As long as that requirement is met, then we can continue in performing our techniques. And so the level of rest in between movements, previously there was a little bit of rest in between where the wasit was call out T, and then the positions would reset. However, now it's completely different, which is a good, I think, initiative from the International Pencak Federation, as we need to keep the activity live throughout the game to make it more interesting for spectators. Definitely in terms of conditioning, there are extra considerations because of the additional aspect of grappling, grip strength, back strength, and whatnot. Definitely needs to be reconsidered because athletes who are not used to bearing weight of another individual who is also resisting could lead to certain injuries if they're not used to it. And so definitely there's a lot of conditioning considerations as well. So these are the just basic needs analysis. I think all the coaches do this, and it's just a lot of new additional considerations that needs to be made into our periodization of our training program. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I believe with all these changes now, coaches needs to work hand in hand with our sports scientists. I think more more cooperation within them, to know, to develop our athletes so that they are equipped for all the changes, the intensity level. I think it has risen. But for then is how do you cope with the changes, and how do you train and evaluate your athletes based on all the new changes and the new techniques that you have to impart onto them?
It's like a little bit double. The new athletes, it's the new changes are adding to the program, but the older athletes, normally we are coaching them on their basic skills to improve, to be better, faster, and smarter. But now we have to add the new techniques. So after every training, every match, we have to evaluate, and then we let them see what are the new possibilities to add the fight, so become more attractive, and eventually the end goal is to win, to become a champion. But we are now standing at the beginning. To become a champion, we have to train hard, to implement new rules, new techniques. That's a long process, especially what I mentioned, after 2 years not able to train, only on the stamina and the condition, the basic skills, but not able to add new techniques. So there's a lot of work to do, but I think it's possible. But safety, what Ali also mentioned, is I think it's very important, especially for our younger athletes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you guys a very sensitive question. Okay, we have been hearing a lot of positive issues, positive things you can introduce. If you are given the opportunity, what would be one of the new rules that you feel that should not change at all? It could be either techniques, it could be either scoring system. What would you want it to remain from the previous rules, and you do not want it to be changed? Ali, Mr. Alipa?
That's a bit of a hard one, Asmo, because I'm quite receptive of the new regulations. I quite enjoy the changes. I definitely feel that it is a benefit to the sport in the long term, especially after we do some amendments to any regulations after performing it. I think one of the resistances is due to the fact that people perceive that the new regulations does not, some of the new regulations lead to danger to the athlete. And I think an example here is to look at a different perspective. If we look at some grappling sports, one of the specialist techniques that present in Tanding Silat currently is the scissor technique. And in a lot of grappling sports, scissor techniques are actually banned because of the fear of injury, and because of the record of injuries to the knees and to the ankles and whatnot. However, Pencak Silat has sustained the practice of scissors to the point that it has refined the technique so much that the number of performances that we've done of scissors has led to a refinement in the technique where it's no longer causing injuries, because people learn how to not only perform it efficiently, but they learn how to receive it efficiently, because as soon as someone does a scissor technique, they know how to land properly so that they don't sustain an injury. And so I think if we look at that perspective, when we learn these new techniques under these new regulations, we should always consider how we can learn the techniques in a safe manner and how we can perform it in a safe manner, not only for the performer, but also for the recipient of the technique. And this is a major consideration in terms of my programs. Of course, because I'm a development coach mainly. So we do a lot of drills where we make sure that the athletes know how to receive particular techniques. And when it reaches a critical point, for example, they can resist to a critical point, but after that, when they know the technique is going to be performed and executed, then they need to receive it with grace and safely. And so this is something that I emphasize in my programs, and I think it should be emphasized in all our coaching programs as well, especially for the youth. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I agree that based on techniques and training, it's empowering for us. The changes, it excites us. It's add fuel to us. So from Coach Fikri, anything that you want to remain from the previous rules that you think that should not have changed?
For me, for this new rule is actually for senior category, junior and above, junior and senior lah. So this one is very good lah. But for because the martial arts we have high risk for injury. So maybe for me, for like my personal opinion, so like pretty below, so we must more safety for the technique lah. So because the below pretty below the still grow the strength, not the muscle, not enough strength, that the bone not strong. So we can adjust a bit for the pretty below. So for the like maybe just for safety first for the, but for the junior above, junior senior is, for me is all very good. Yes, we must just like Coach Ali say, so we must drill a lot of technique so we can receive and we can execute the technique lah. Maybe like that.
Thank you. Dennis, anything?
Yeah, it is difficult, but a slight change is the kick to the spine, beside of inside. It's different because now we are only focused on target and the body protector to score, and to win you have to score, not to. I think a direct kick to the spine is only used to make injury. Even when you follow up with a valid technique, the intention is to injure your opponent or to slow down your opponent. Also, the standing armbar. Also, I think it's we don't see it a lot. I think in competition because it's very difficult to perform this. But the high risk is if you are not well done practice, it is very high risk for injury. When do you stop? When do you tap out? When you scream from stop, stop. If you are a very hard opponent, they don't shout, they don't tap out, and then it will be broke. Yeah, and they say with your own risk, broke is TKO, but yeah. It's a slight high risk, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could agree more. For the changes, I think the risk has risen. Okay, moving on with the next question. Okay, I think this question I would like to, the best person to answer this is Dr. Sheikh Alauddin, because he was the chairman for the C-Champs. So, sir, at the C-Champs, what were the differences that you saw between the athletes, the officials, the team from previous competition while using old rulings, and to the new changes at that C-Champ? Sir.
I've seen a lot of changes. Firstly, the Wasit and jury are so nervous because it's their first time. They're going out to perform, and we did a refresher course for them and so on. But still, the time that is given to them to really absorb as much as possible, that is a big challenge for them. So I seen them, they trying to grips as much as possible. They trying to hold on that as if they know everything. But time to time, I've made a lot of contact time with them by giving them briefing and debrief pertaining to the day of the event. So I did 3 times a day for them to understand. Early in the morning, break time, and then before they leave the hall. Another interesting area where the coaches, they have to sit behind the box, coach box, and they cannot shout. They cannot utter anything. They can show signs of giving signals and so on, but that will constrict them, hold them back, to control their emotions, and then they have to be there and see the athlete performing. Though the athlete is not listening to their instructions, they couldn't shout, whereas previously they can shout, they can bang and do whatever they like. So this is very interesting for the coaches to really control their emotion, and they have to plan now how to, in connection by giving instructions to the athlete. So that is entirely up to the coaches to think how they want to work with the athlete to understand your cues, your statements, or your what we call it, the trigger points that you're going to give to your athletes. No point you talking about the whole story, how you want to attack and how you want to defend. You got to provide with trigger points. So this is another interesting things that I've seen pertaining to the event itself. And then, of course, you see the panel of the main judges, like the chairman, the council, and there is a now new 5-second digital system where that will help the wasit. So these are the things that changes and make the panel to be alert, especially the KP, the chairman, and the day one. They cannot be sitting down and waiting for the game to over and the next one to come in. They have to be alert. The person who are very relaxed and just need to focus on the athlete performance is the jury. It's just giving 1 point or 2 points. That's the difference. Whereas the referee, the day one, the KP, and the digital 5-second person to be there also must be super alert. So this is very interesting. And of course, there's another area that you see is the scoring system, where the score doesn't really go up because the jury have to score immediately whatever they see. So 2 out of 3, then only the score will be surfaced up at the screen. This create a controversial to the fans and to the coaches and so on. So what we did the recent after we look at it and we came back with the scoring system department from the IF side, Persilat side. So we say that we give 3 seconds buffer, 3 seconds, because on that time you can punch as much and so on. You don't see the score goes up because 2 person give the score, then only you can see the screen. So that's difficult. So we give 3 seconds buffer, but the only issue will be happening here is like 159 seconds, 1 minute 59. And then the score goes up. It will not show immediately. After 3 seconds, then only it will show. So that means 2.02, then only you will see the score in or out. Or even in 2 minutes, going for before it gong, and then the score goes up. The score goes up, it will appear 203. And then the fans were saying, I'm supporting my team, and then the team lost, or the opponent lost. So this will create another controversy in this system and in this game. You'll be surprised because it happens in the previous games where 159 and then the opponent's kick, the score just turned. From 40-41, it became 42 to 41, and he lost. He thought that he is already celebrating for that 1 second or 2 seconds he celebrate, and then he lost. And then the coach was not happy. the team manager is not happy, the whole entire team not happy, and then people say this is a bullshit sport. It will happen in that manner. It will definitely happen. So this is a thing that we need to look at. And then he came out with another one, which is VAR. Another thing that create a bit of chaos because it takes so much time when referee protests, coach protests, and then the referee also requests for this, which is VAR, video assisted referee. So now they look at it like it takes very long to transfer the data, and then it will showcase to the screen. And then the protest commissioner must show whether you have to raise the card to show whether it's valid or not valid. In for the blue or in for the red. So these are the great changes, as you can see. And but the interesting part of this is Vietnam is as good as the rest of the other countries. They only follow on the online, where we give briefings and so on. We don't go there. We don't do anything. We just basically, they also doesn't communicate with us. They're only receiving whatever is being sent to them. But what happened in Singapore, the last SEA Championship? They conquered most of it. They attend the course. They just show sign with me whether this can or cannot. I've explained to them using my sign and using technique to show them, and they got it. And then they are strong. And then it surprises a lot of people why they can capture and then why they can really embrace the championship or the rules. So these are the things that is very interesting for me to see in the last SEA Championship. Beside the organizing part of it, we just get the nod. It's only 1 month, and then we get all the team to the staff to come in to work on. Of course, I'm lucky I got 100,000. I mean, today a lot of side we have to look for sponsors to come in. So these are the things that it's interesting to organize a championship, and then you see the different types of teams coming in, very anxious, and they want to do the best they can. Everyone want to be a champion, but only one can be a champion. So best of luck with the coaches. You have to go back to your drawing board again and keep looking and how best you want to improve the athlete, because this game, this new rule is basically is a fair playing field for everyone. You start from zero. You can be a champion or whatever. If you cannot sustain your heart, you are done. Meaning breathing, conditioning, your endurance, your mental, your strength, basically about all. I saw the last one we did in the trials in Malaysia. The referee want to concuss. He was telling me that I cannot breathe, I cannot take it. And I was like, what's happening with you? Because the game is too fast, because the athlete is too fast. I say, no, it's go back to you again, where you must be fit as a referee. You must be ready mentally, physically. You must know the rules, and then you can take on the games. So in Singapore, so the last SEA Championship, Southeast Asian Championship, I saw referees sweating. Aircon is so cold inside the stadium, and yet they are sweating. Why they are sweating? Because they have to be taken care of all areas, and then they must take care of their own safety. They must know the rule, and then really sweats them. This is very interesting. I love it. I'm just looking for more, and then we can see. This year we have SEA Games. 2 months later, I'll see Dennis in Malacca, in Malaysia for the World Championship. And then in 2 months later, in August, we will have Indonesian Open, where all countries still can come to Indonesia in Padepokan to compete. So we are putting a lot of events to make sure that opportunity for the coaches, opportunity for the athlete, and then this will grow and understand so much better in terms of the rule and developing the sport easily. Because this time around, you can sell the idea much better to the donors or the sponsors or your investors and so on. Yes, Hasmo, go back to you.
Thank you, sir. I think it was very insightful. I think I was there at the last CTM because I was being tasked with the technical issues. So I escaped the coaching aspect. So my colleague Fikri and his team had to cover that aspect. So it was a breather for me. But from a technical aspect, it was quite challenging because of the VR system, the new changes, the scoring system, the new arenas. There's a lot of things that needs more attention to details and our focus. Getting back onto coaches, as coaches, I believe that you guys, other than training of your athletes, upon competitions, due to all the changes within the new rulings, what do you expect preparation? How do you prep your athletes so that they are able to withstand all the new changes, safety, the high techniques, the intensity of the competition? How would you push her or him so that they are ready for competition? Ali, how do you ensure how are you going to motivate them to mold them for example, SEA Games?
Yeah. So in terms of preparing the current national competitors, definitely it's not as easy as preparing like junior and development athletes because they're still learning and they don't have to reprogram themselves. Whereas the elite athletes, they already have specific movement patterns. They already have set plays that they've already utilized for a decade. And I think that's the challenge. So the task at this stage is to adapt whatever movement patterns they have currently and try to adapt and retrain those so that it meets the requirements of the new regulations. I think the new challenges right now, because previously some of the habits of our athletes is a takedown. But right now, if your opponent's hand position is on the chest, you can get the opponent rather than yourself will be given the drop. And so these are extra considerations that we presented to the athletes themselves so that they understand that any movements they do can result in either penalties or points awarded to the opponent. And so tactically, they need to reconsider what they've practiced previously and try to adapt. Coaches can only try to bridge the understanding and the gap in terms of the movement behaviors of our athletes. But ultimately, it is up to the athletes themselves to receive it and try to adapt the game to the new regulations.
Thank you. Dennis, is there any special formula of our coach for you to prepare your athletes? Being said that, with all the new additions of the new rules, is there anything else that you're adding to your formula in preparation for a competition?
Yeah, it's difficult. As I mentioned, we have a national team and we have also around 50 Pagurans in the Netherlands. They train with their own school. So eventually I'm not always be there to give them the tips and tricks, but I also told them to watch the SEA Championship to see what can be done, what can be happen. For example, a reaction as one of my students said, but do I have to improve the new techniques? Can't I do the same what I used to do? I say, yeah, it's okay, but your opponent use the new techniques, so you have to be aware what could be happened in a fight. So be aware what the changes are, and if you rather do or don't apply the new techniques, the fight is changing. So if you want to be a part of it, you have to step on a train and change. If you don't want to apply, you have to consider, are you able to fight on the international level? because you are not good enough. You have to improve. Otherwise, I think you don't win a game if you don't approve the new techniques.
Yep. I think for the athletes.
Sorry, I just to
carry on.
Just to add. You see, right now we are in the digital world. Everything changed. Everything is like a rapid. It's just fast. I was talking to a lot of people. I say I'm looking forward for the CCHAM previously. I'm just looking because we say that we just have 1 month to organize, and then by today I'm talking. The next moment the game is over. In 1 month, it's just so fast. It just click. Today I fast, already almost another few more days, I'm finished with the fasting. 1 month. What I'm trying to say is like the time has passed so fast. Are you in or you out? Are you still like before under the blanket and still scared to go out? Are you sprinting or you jumping or you still walking or crawling? So having said what Dennis are saying, that's perfectly correct. If you don't jump into the train, you don't follow, and then you don't make it to the best ability you can, I think it's going to be tough. However, you can use digital at the same time you do translate into coaching. So to make them fully understand, because athlete cannot just be receiving end. By receiving from the coaches, you do this, you do that, like a remote control. They themselves need to understand the rules. They need to understand what kind of game plan they want to do while in the competition, while the coaches have their own game plan. So this like you have to sit down and discuss and how best you can come up with your game plan in terms of to be a winning team. So I think this type of thing is just we have to be constantly and sharing and putting this thing to the athlete, and then we have to every time have to do searching and see how best we can develop. The bottom line is everyone want to be the winning team. No one want to be second. Everyone want to be first. So ultimately, got to do a lot of research. Got to go back to the drawing board, go and talk to people and get the expert and provide experiences and so on. And from there, you can come out with your own chapter. As a coach, you can come out with your own chapter. So these are the things preparing for the athlete for a competition. Obviously, the norm that we have done, everybody know what to do to be a coach, but what's the difference between you and other coaches or within your team and another team? That is very important for you to really swim through and see how best that you really need to further in terms of being well prepared, well prepared in terms of to be part of the big stage. Back to you, Asmo.
Right, thank you. Okay, SEA Games is around the corner. I think Coach Fikri is one of the coaches, team of coaches with Singapore Silat Federation. The team is going over there. So, Coach Fikri, as a coach, what do you expect from these SEA Games? The changes. What is your game plan? How do you approach towards this SEA Games? Your preparation and your expectation at the games.
Yeah, for the SEA Games, now we preparation for the SEA Games. So based on the previous competition, the CCHAM, so we know already our athlete condition. So we must increase the fitness, we must increase the strength, because the new rule is no limited for the attacking. So the athlete can attack although until the referee says stop. So we must increase the fitness and strength for the every athlete. So, and the game plan also, because now the new rule, the coaches cannot shout, cannot give instruction directly. So we do the like hand signal or between coach and athlete. So we make some perception. So the between coach and athlete, we have still in connection lah. So this one is difficult part because from the previous the rule, we still can shout, we can give instruction directly. So this one, I don't know. The for the next game still can control our instruction or not, because now the referee can give yellow and red card for the coaches. So that's why it's very difficult. I can expect, I don't know, because that part is very difficult for the coaches. Maybe all the coaches, because the previous CCHAM, all the coaches still shout, still can give instruction, but the KP or they want just give like warning, coach, please stop, please be quiet. If not, you can I give you the yellow card. Okay. But still same. That one is the all coaches maybe must control the emotion for the give instruction. And also the protest, we have a lot can make some protest, so cannot just like protest and a blue drop or red drop. We must explain. That's why we must know the rule, we must know the technique, what we want to explain for the protest. Maybe that's one the different from the previous for the SEA Games. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Coach Fikri. I do hope that Team Singapore do well, and the rest of the contingent from the other countries, from Brunei, from Indonesia, from Malaysia. Okay, I have a question to every one of you. As all of us here are still in our teenage years, I think we are reaching our twilight. So how do you see yourself after retirement? Do you still be in Silat? Would you still be heavily involved in Silat, even though after you have reached the retirement age? Ali Alipah?
Definitely still will be involved as long as my body enables me. Quite a few significant injuries to my knees and ankles and whatnot. So fingers are not correctly aligned anymore, things like that. But if my body enables me and allows me to still participate, definitely will be participating until as much as I can.
Dennis, how about you?
I think I will never retire, but as an athlete, I retired in 2015 at the World Championship in Thailand, in Phuket. Then I started my own parkour run in the Netherlands. So I train along with my students as much as possible. So I retire, yes. I don't know. I think never. Especially when I was an old man, 80, 90 years old, I can't walk, then I have to retire.
Thank you, Dennis. How about you, Fikri?
Yeah, maybe for the athlete, I'm retired already. But for the Silat, maybe I'm still same with Dennis. I never retire for the Silat, because these are my passion. So maybe if I'm not in national team already, so maybe I go back to my club, my perguruan, teach all the athlete over there, and maybe we still can share the experience and knowledge. Maybe we can like give the rest for the like coaching course, coaching clinic, about sharing about the technique, sharing about the experience with the others. So, and maybe because I also in Indonesia active in event organization for Silat competition, maybe after that we also can I'm back to organize the event, maybe like that. But never retire for Silat. Still want to contribute for Silat as long as I can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think this question, if I pose it to Dr. Sheikh, I'm going to be in the hot soup. So, but I still need to ask, sir, would you consider after retiring away from Silat, or even though after retiring, you still be in Silat?
I mean, the conversation from beginning, we've been talking that we want to put Silat to Olympics. So if I'm 70 years old, I will still continue contributing to Silat because this is one of the things that I'll be doing. Not knowing Silat to become a hero, become a champion. I told myself when I was fighting at the age of the last in 1999, 32 years old, and then I say I want to continue until 35, but then the federations told me no, you have to give back to the people, the athlete, train, make them be a champion like you. So I stopped at 32, and I requested to be until 40, but it couldn't, But now the kids can go up to until 45. And then as a coach, you just continue wanting to train. You see the boxing coach, you see any coaches, they will be until 60, 70, or even 80, you see coaching boxing. What else they want to do? Because this is the in-root already in the body, and they want that. And for me, I will just continue. I love to do coaching too, because you help the athletes, you see them grow, you keep healthy, you keep in contention throughout. So your mind is working, your body is working. So this is somehow or other, you are helping yourself to be much more healthy. Because as we grow older, we're getting, soft, we're getting more slower, recovery very slow. But we have to keep ourselves active. And for sure, for me, I'll stay until, I don't know, until my last breath. I take it. Yeah. As I say again, from zero to hero, what the hell, stay on and make it happen. See next time, Silat in Olympics, before my last breath, then I think they will be great for all of us, the next generation, not us anymore. We are the one that gonna do everything for the next generation. So we do something to the people. We do something to Silat. I think we will be peaceful in the grave.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I think all of us here are very passionate about Pencak Silat. All of us, I think all of you guys holistically say the same thing. You're not going to retire, going to still be in Silat. And what I just take on to what Dr. Sheikh has just spoken, the changes, all this development is for the future. It's for the younger generation. It's for the next torchbearers. So to wrap up things up, could each of you share your vision, your message to the younger generation? What is your aspiration, your hopes for the future of Pencak Silat with all the changes which is currently happening? We will start from Brunei, Mr. Ali Alibah. Sir?
All right. So for myself, I think in the world of sports, we will always face challenges. It's always a dynamic area that today there's new amendments. Maybe in the next 5 years, there will be other significant amendments. So the mindset of the athletes, it always needs to be open and always accepting challenges and learning how to accept the challenge and how to adjust themselves to be able to perform well in different circumstances. I think that mindset is the most important for us to inculcate into our athletes. So I think other than that, of course, technique-wise and everything, of course, we need to adjust. But in terms of the mindset, that one can be sustained through any changes. So I think we should emphasize on that aspect to our athletes. Thank you.
So Dennis, any words of wisdom to the younger generation?
Wisdom, not only train harder, but train smarter. It's not only physics, it's also mentally. It's very important.
Thank you. Coach Fikri, aspiration for Pencak Silat for the future?
Yeah, I hope the Pencak Silat, all of us can ready for every changes and still innovate for the Silat, so we can elevate Silat and Silat can go to Olympic and Silat accept Silat for the world. Maybe like that.
Thank you. I would like to invite Dr. Sheikh. Any last word, your vision, your message to the next generation, the next torchbearers of Pencak Silat? Sir?
Stay tuned with us, see our development, and keep training and doing best what you think is best for Pencak Silat. and giving us all the support. And hopefully one day we can meet again, and this time around in the Olympics. And that said all at how best Silat can be it on the traditional, be it on the self-defense, or even in sports. To that, I would like to also say to everyone of the panel here that thank you very much for being part of this coaching YouTube live. I'm very happy to see this, and I'm sure it will be nice to do again. That is initiative that from the Singapore Silat to bring us together and share our ideas. Look forward for more information from Silat, and stay with us and keep us alive by doing Silat. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the crew and myself, to our distinguished panelists, distinguished guest, Dr. Sheikh, to our friend from Brunei Darussalam, Mr. Ali Alipa, to Mr. Dennis Sultan from Holland, and to Coach Muhammad Fikri from Indonesia, which is currently with Singapore Silat Federation and as national coach, and to the president of APSIF, Dr. Syed Alauddin, and CEO of Singapore Silat Federation. Thank you for spending time with us, sharing your expertise, your knowledge and experience with us, and hopefully the viewers out there could get advice, good inputs from all that has been shared here. On behalf of myself and the Singapore Separation and the crew here, thank you so much for your time. To our viewers out there, keep up with our social medias, and we'll be live again tomorrow with more new guests. So don't miss out on that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. From us in Singapore, Singapore Silat Federation, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. And to all our Muslim viewers, it is too early to wish you a happy Hari Raya. But in Mubarak, thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all. Good luck.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good luck at SEA Games.